Welcome to the only place where real, raw, and vulnerable conversations happen with IFBB bikini pros to give you an inside look at their struggles, strategies, mindset, passions, and all of life beyond the stage. This podcast is made to inspire, motivate, and remind competitors and the average gym goer that even the most extreme lifestyles and elite athletes have their ups and downs. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm your host, Celeste Rains-Turk, and now it's time for the Confessions of a Bikini Pro podcast. Today, we are hearing from a small town girl from Illinois who now lives in Arizona as a full-time personal trainer and nutrition coach who has a passion for competing and helping others achieve the goals they never imagined were possible. Welcome to the show, Abby Ball. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking. And as you know, I have a question I like to ask everybody, and that is, what do you do, or what is something you think about, or a ritual you have right before your heel hits the stage?
Oh, that's a good question. It probably sounds lame, but I always say like a little quick prayer before I go on stage. And I do like a little click of my heels, and then I'm just like thinking to myself, all right, I gotta be Beyonce now. Beyonce.
I love it. That's awesome. So, I don't really ask this question enough on the show, and I really think it's a good one. And so you've obviously said that you have a passion for competing and you show and love what you do. So what is it that makes you actually love this sport?
Competing. So competition for me, a little background on me. So I actually sound, again, not like nerdy, but like I was a Division I collegiate golfer. So
Uh-huh.
I love competition. And when I was done golfing, when I was done with my career, I was like, okay, so I really like working out. There was a girl actually at my college at the time that like she competed, and I was like, oh, that would be so cool. I was like envious of her. And I was like, maybe that's gonna be like my next thing for like what I'm gonna do. So I got into competing, and the reason why I continue to compete, one, I love competition. Two, it's all about like, for me, it's always self-improvement. It's not, yes, I want to win. We all want to win. That's just the name of the game. But it's about getting better in every single aspect and putting that extra 2% more than you ever thought you ever could every single day leading up into the stage.
Yeah,
So
totally.
self-improvement.
Yeah, self-improvement for sure. I was thinking about this today, and I was like, bodybuilding has given me so much self-improvement for sure, but specifically for me, patience. That was one thing that I really think I need to learn and continue to learn, because I have such an urgent personality. Like everything's got to be done now, that luckily competing has taught me to slow down and enjoy the
Oh
process.
God, I wish that's what competing taught me.
Yeah, it doesn't always translate in every area of my life, but it's definitely helped a lot. Like it makes me be patient. I realize like this is gonna take time, and this is one of those things that I don't even want to rush necessarily anymore, because I love it. And you said you envied a girl you saw who had competed at your school. So this was back in 2015, right?
Yeah, way back yonder.
Yes, that's what I did my first show too.
Okay.
Yes, but then took a lot of time off. So anyways, you never thought you would look like you do now or be where you are now. So when did it click that you could also earn a pro card for yourself?
I that's a really good question. I don't even know, honestly, realistically, if it's really hit me that I am an IFBB pro, which clearly I am. But it's like one of those things where you've worked for it for so long, you're just kind of like, oh shit. Hopefully I can cuss on here. Sorry.
Yes, you can.
Okay, perfect. Oh my God, this is like, I made this goal happen. So, I mean, when I first started competing, I honestly just did it to like just do it. And I was like, I just want to get on stage. And then I got on stage and I got like 5th place. And just, you know how it is when you start competing, your first time on stage is such an adrenaline rush. You're just kind of like, this is like this is what I love. Like, I loved, sounds very narcissistic, but I loved being on stage. I loved performing. And then from there, it just kind of snowballed. And 2 years up the road, I was very, very fortunate that I was able to come across a coach that truly believed in me and was like, you know what, you can do this. Like, you can make your pro card a reality. It's going to take time. It's going to take discipline. It's going to take effort, but you can do it.
Wow. And so then you started your journey to achieving that?
Yeah, I mean, it started 4 years ago, little by little. And then the last 2 years, I pretty much dieted almost basically 2 months, 2 years straight. And it led me to my pro card in June of 2019.
Wow, that's awesome. And I mean, that's pretty recent, of course. And now you are taking some time off. So why now after all these years of dieting?
Dear Lord Jesus, my hormones needed a break. My body needed a break. My brain needed a break. Everything, I gave everything to getting my pro card. And I will never regret getting my pro card or pushing as hard as I pushed. But I wish I would have, if I could go back again, I wish I would have taken your little patience thing that you said, taking your time to get there. I probably could have done better about that. And therefore, that is why now I needed a full reset. I wanted to feel like, not that I lost any sort of desire for competing, but I wanted to make sure that the next time I go on stage, I'm not just going on stage just to be like, oh, hey guys, what's up? I didn't die. I'm still alive. I'm still competing. But I want to go on stage and I actually want to do something. I want to like bring the best package I've ever brought. And that's going to require time, not only healing from it, not healing necessarily, but like giving your body time to, for me, I need to grow. I need to grow lower body and upper body, and improving my metabolism, getting my health back on track and making sure my hormones are balanced, they're not all wonky. And just in general, to answer your original question, because I'm great at going off on tangents, just getting me back to being the healthiest me. So then therefore, when I do go back on stage, I am the best me in all aspects.
I love that. No, and you answered my question really well, I thought. I mean, I love tangents. I think it's awesome. It gives me a lot of information as a listener.
Dear Lord, I'm the queen of tangents.
Tangent away. It's all good. But yeah, I find like this past year, I took off a year back from prep now, but like I took off a year and I was so glad that I did for a lot of those same reasons. I was like, if I can get my health back where it needs to be, then imagine what kind of progress I can make. Like when you have a fully functioning body, the amount of progress you can make is obviously going to be higher and greater than someone who doesn't have a fully functioning body. So what are you going to be doing differently now than you were on prep?
I'm reverse dieting currently. So I'm increasing my caloric intake little by little every single week, depending on how my weight is, depending on how I'm looking, how I'm feeling, how my lifts are. So I'm reversing and slowly decreasing my cardio and just really focusing on strength training. I think sometimes what happens and what I've seen not only from myself as a competitor, but also what I see as a fitness professional, so as a in-person personal trainer, is that people are specifically, well, not just, I shouldn't just say isolate females, but we are so wrapped up in basically cardio with weights. So strength training is not about how many calories you're burning. Strength training is about putting time under tension. So putting the muscle under tension so you can actually create new muscle fibers and create new muscle tissue. So therefore you can build. So I'm really, really heavily focusing on not only increasing my food, decreasing my cardio per se, or just keeping it consistent because I enjoy cardio. It's more therapeutic for me. And really, really focusing on connecting when it comes to my mind and my body when I'm actually strength training.
Absolutely. And I love that so much because strength training gives us that opportunity to connect with ourselves, to listen to our body in new ways, and to challenge ourselves differently than we're used to. And I think, with reversing slowly, with increasing food slowly, decreasing cardio slowly, you don't see your body change as quickly, but I know, and I work with a lot of girls who have a hard time adjusting to the post-show body, especially when they need to get their health in order. So how have you been adjusting to slowly gaining the weight back?
So for me, I'm always kind of like a tiny tyke. So, and I'm a very, sometimes people will say like I'm like a robot sometimes. I like my prep food. So I will forever and always eat air fried tilapia. Always. That's just
Nice.
me. Yeah, that's lame, but it's super good. But so for me dealing with it, like when it comes to like the eating portion, I actually almost think sometimes eating more for me is harder because in my brain I'm not necessarily stuck in prep mode, but there's still aspects of my brain I'm trying to like rewire neuroplasticity, like trying to work back from that and get back into what I would say is more balance. But also dealing with like um, body dysmorphia. I don't care who you are, body dysmorphia as a competitor is totally a thing. And I'll be honest with you, there's some days I feel on top of the world, like, oh man, yes, my butt is finally growing. I feel good. And there's other days where I struggle. Just I'm a human, just like everyone else. I'm a female. I have my own insecurities. And you know what? When that happens for me, I'm a big believer in journaling now. It's something I've started since getting off stage. And so I write about how I'm feeling. And so I can leave those thoughts in the past on the paper versus going forth through my day thinking, man, I really don't like how I have a little bit of fat on my stomach. Or my stomach looks like it's distended or something very small that is just physical and it doesn't define me as a human. So it's a, to get back to your question, it's a daily process. It's not, I don't like looking at it like when I think of how I thought about things 3 months ago and seeing my body change, I was really, really hard on myself. So I think it's about learning throughout the process, day by day, and accepting your body in all forms that it is. Because the more you can evolve, the more you can grow, the more you can accept and love yourself. It's just going to help further your mental health and your physical health as well.
Yes, I love what you said about like you wouldn't take like allow a little bit of fat that you had gained to then determine you as a person, as a human. It doesn't define you. And I think that's a really
No, it does
key.
not.
Yeah, it doesn't. And that's a key distinction because we get wrapped up in the identity of competitor, lean competitor, prep
Oh, yes, we do.
body. So this is where a lot of that comes from. And something that I have my girls do is there's like a self-loathe and self-love practice that I really love to share. And essentially, like on one side of paper, you'll write down all of the self-loathing thoughts you're having, and on the other side you replace them with loving thoughts. And if we can practice this, right, that the art of writing is really awesome in itself. So I'm a big fan of journaling too. And when we do this, if we hang that piece of paper up or we refer back to it, take a picture on our phone, then we can look at it when those thoughts come up, and it can become a daily practice. And like you said, it is about creating new neural pathways, which doesn't happen overnight. It requires consistent and conscious effort in order to do that. So when we have a negative thought, we have to be willing to identify that negative thought and immediately replace it with something that's more self-serving, or at least moving us closer to our goals, whether that's mentally or physically. And so I love that you do that. I love that you can reflect and see that your growth has also been attributed to taking the time to really journal and, of course, you know, acknowledge what's going on mentally and the fact that this is a problem. But, you know, when we're competing, of course, there's a lot of things that we put into that identity. We put into that identity because we're following a plan, and we're usually following that plan to a T. Like, I know I'll follow my plan to a T, and sometimes that means like eating chicken and turkey when I wake up in the morning to hit a workout. I don't mind
Girl, I
this.
eat fish at 4:15 in the morning
Yeah, like
sometimes.
there's no like honestly, like it's not that crazy. Like it's all a choice, right? Like we're choosing to do those things. But
Hmm.
there are people who are thinking about getting the sport or who are in the sport, and it's fun sometimes to just acknowledge like what are some of those things that other people don't see you do or don't know about, that might be considered weird, but you do them to prepare for a show.
So like weird food tricks
Just
or
weird things in general, like okay, you're waking up at 4:15 to eat fish. Like not a lot of people would do that, or not a lot of people do. Those are things like they don't see. Like you step on stage, people are like, oh, I want to step on stage one day, but they don't see those types of things.
Yeah, I think a lot of people think when they see all of us like in our most beautiful state, which would be on stage, I think it's, oh, it's this luxurious, glamorous like sport. There's so much in bodybuilding that's not so glamorous. Like for example, my excessive use of mustard.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, mustard's
Same.
amazing. Mustard, CVS, cinnamon is the best condiment choice you could ever use in a
Wait,
prep. Side note.
what? Mustard,
Okay.
CVS, cinnamon?
Yes, it's like a honey mustard, but 0 calories.
Wait, so it's got
And
cinnamon in the mustard.
yeah, you throw some cinnamon in there,
Oh
man. It's bomb.
my gosh, that is
I'm
awesome.
telling you, I buy mustard. Note to any new competitors, buy mustard from Costco or Sam's Club in like the value pack things. I promise you, you'll thank me later. And you'll save a lot of money.
I love
Other
mustard.
things, oh, mustard, all the condiments, that's how it saves me. But other things I don't think people see is the grind of prep. Prep is so much of a grind. And there's more days than not that you're just like, ugh, Jesus, I gotta go to the gym. And sometimes, I've been seeing a lot more, a lot of different social media accounts that are just talking about it's a privilege, and it is a privilege. And I think when I first start, and I get into when I'm in prep, there's times where I'm just like, I'm really grateful. And I think it's really easy to fall into that category of being not grateful for the fact that you are able to work out, you're able to afford competition. Competition is really expensive between hair, makeup, suit, tan, travel, entry fees, all of the above. There's so much that goes into it. Your trainer, posing, blah, blah, blah. The list can go on and on. I think just knowing going into that, thinking, seeing it as a privilege, that's a big thing that people don't see when they see someone in their sparkly suit on stage. They think, oh, that person doesn't have good or bad days. We all have good or bad days, but reflecting upon that and realizing it is a privilege is a big thing. Other things that people might not see behind the scenes of prep. Socially, you're gonna have probably a little bit of social anxiety because there's gonna be events where if you're really hardcore, you're on a meal plan, you're not tracking macros, and you're really close to the show, and you gotta bring your food to a social event if you're going to one, or you omit yourself from going to a social event because you kind of have like anxiety over that. I've totally dealt with that, and it's something that I don't want new competitors to fear that, but I also want to make sure that competitors know that that could be something that is prevalent during your competition prep. And it doesn't mean you can't go to social events forever, but it does mean that there's going to be a time and place, and you will have to make sacrifices that if you weren't in a competition prep, you wouldn't necessarily have to do that.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of competitors do get nervous about eating out when they're on prep, or even sometimes during their reverse diet. So what do you normally do?
In a social setting,
Mm-hmm.
it depends on how close to stage I am. So I have always tracked macros. So the tracking of carbohydrates, fats, and proteins. So for me, if I'm able to eat out, or I am far enough away from a show, so we're talking like probably 4 weeks away from a show, anything 4 weeks in when I'm dialing in for the show, I definitely don't eat off. I don't eat out at all. But if I'm plus 4 weeks and I have to go to a social event, I won't not go. I will go, and I will make sure I do my research beforehand, because pretty much now you can find any nutritional value, or you can find something that's very similar. Or if you're not able to do that, what I try to do is I would mimic what kind of meal I would have if I were at home. So I was eating fish, I'd make sure that I ordered at the restaurant fish, ask them not to cook it in oil, not to cook it any butter, and I just stick to the basics. So I do a protein, I do a carb, if I'm able to have carbs at the time, or I just do a vegetable. So I try to keep, I'm pretty plain Jane. So I just try to keep it try to copy what I would traditionally eat at home if I were in a social setting.
Yeah, and you said that these are things that you think people should know, like, before getting into competing, like, you might face some of these things. You might face issues with your body. You might face those awkward moments of trying to figure out, how can I make a social situation work? Is it even worth it, right? What is something else that you wish more bikini competitors knew about competing as a whole?
I wish people, before they got into competing, they they thought of why they want to truly compete and figure out their big why before just throwing themselves into it. Because if you just throw yourself into it, I don't feel like you're not gonna feel fulfilled no matter what. If you get to a show or throughout the bumps in the road getting up into a show, you're more or less likely to cheat on your diet or not do all your workouts or not give it 150%. So I would really advise people just to make sure that they figure out what their why is and make sure that why is a big enough reason to enter a contest prep.
It's so funny, like, over time my why has developed so much, and when I first got into it, it was just to see, like, what I was capable of and what I could push myself to achieve, and see what I had, why I was investing so much time and energy into that lifestyle already. I might as well step on stage. So my why was very different when I first started, and it didn't last. That why definitely didn't last me, and it didn't sustain me, and I didn't really like competing, honestly, when I first did it. And then I remember when I got back into it, I was like, I want to show people that you can compete and you can do it in a healthy way without messing up your relationship with food and without hating your body and all these different things. And it's funny because back then I didn't even know I was going to work with competitors, or I wanted to work with competitors, but that was a big part of my why. And now I want to go pro one day, and the decision, or the desire, I should say, to go pro one day is based on the fact that I want to be able to use that as a platform for a mission I'm already committed to, right? Like, the why within me and for my mission to help people build more interesting body is already so great that becoming a pro would just be another awesome platform for that. Or you look at someone who takes like a Miss Bikini Olympia title or Miss Bikini International, they're given a platform that they can use to benefit people who follow them or follow the sport, or to do nothing with and just take it for themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So let me ask you, what is your why?
What is my why? My why to originally get my pro card, my why originally was, you know what, this is something I want to prove to myself. I want to prove that I can push through all barriers, all negative thoughts that I have about myself, all of my insecurities, all of my barriers that are telling me I can't do this. That was my why to get my pro card. Now I feel like my why has changed. Right? Just like what you said,
Mm-hmm.
you evolve as a human. Your why is going to evolve. So the next time I get on stage as a bikini pro, my why is still to be the best me that I possibly can and push myself harder than I ever can or ever have. But my why is also to share that journey with people, and kind of similar to yours, and as far as like making sure that you're doing, like, making sure you're not just throwing your health out the window, making sure you're doing it in a healthy way. Yes, there's going to be times during contest prep that aren't quote unquote healthy,
Yes.
but that's just a part of prep. And I think vulnerability in itself is a beautiful thing, and the more vulnerable you are with people, um you're just a lot more open as a human, and I think people are able to connect to you. So showing that vulnerability, getting to the stage, getting to that next stage, because now I'm at the bottom of the totem pole. When you become a pro, it's not like you're way up on top here. No, you're at the very, very bottom again. You got to work your way back up. So just showing that hard work and persistence, no matter what you dedicate that to, whether it's competition, whether it's your career, whether it is whatever aspect of your life that you really want to focus on, persistence, hard work, discipline, dedication, they can get you to where you want to be, but you have to want it bad enough. You can't just kind of want it. You got to want it. You got to be all in.
That's right. Yes, in everything. And like you said, like there may be unhealthy parts of competing. There's also unhealthy parts of being a business owner or being an employee.
All aspects of life.
You know, like there's gonna be times and moments where you have to give so much energy beyond the point, but then we create new limits. We create new levels for ourselves to which then it becomes a more normal aspect of prep, and then there's something else that pushes us outside of our comfort zone or maybe challenges us and our health in new ways. And honestly, it's a really beautiful thing. And what you said, I love this. I remember actually reading a post of yours when you went pro about being at the bottom of the totem pole now, and how that was that you see that as an opportunity. So
Oh,
what
hell yes, that's an opportunity.
I love that. I think that is such a great mindset. And I want you to explain like how taking that mindset on has changed your approach maybe in this improvement season, or also why you've taken that mindset on.
I think, especially in this sport, the more humble you are, the the sweeter the reward is at the end of the day. Because you could go into the sport and have such a huge ego and think, you know what, I got my pro card, I'm up here, everyone else is below you. And it's like, really? Just because you have 4 letters before your name, that doesn't mean anything. Like, you still have to do the work. You still have to, you still have to sacrifice in certain areas. Like, you have to do the work. Like, not, for me, I guess it's just like, just, just because just because you accomplish your goal. If you're a true winner, you never actually win, if that makes any sense.
I got you.
Because you're always resetting, you're always restarting, you're setting new goals every single day. Like, this day, I want to make sure that when I lift, I'm gonna increase my weight by 5 pounds, whatever the case may be, or I'm gonna do 3 more seconds time under tension. Whatever the case is, you never actually win. You're never gonna get to the point. If you are a grinder, you're a hustler. You want to be the best person you possibly can be. Whether it means you win a pro show, or you win a regional show, or whatever the case may be, like, you always have to reevaluate. You always have to set new goals. It's one step in front of the other. Like, it's 1 foot in front of the other. It's never, you're going to have times where you go backwards, but then you got to keep going forward, because you're really, truly wanting to evolve as a human. You have to keep pushing and pushing and pushing. There is no stop time. Even like for me, for example, right now, even though, yes, I'm not on stage, I'm not in competition prep, I'm still pushing myself every day to make sure I'm hitting my numbers, or making sure that I'm not just like, well, screw this, there is no stage in sight right now, I'm just gonna go sit on my ass. You know what I mean? Like, it's about constantly always making sure that you are evolving, you're changing, you're trying your hardest day in and day out.
What was driving you day in and day out leading to your pro card? You said you put everything into it. What was like, walk us through what that experience was like.
That last, like, I remember I started prep for my run at my national stage run, and I started prep in January, and I swear to God, at the end of February, I got to the point where I was like, I don't know if I can do this. And I had to really evaluate what I wanted. Like, it's a lot of sacrifice. It's a lot of heart that you got to put into it. And there was so much of me that doubted it. I was like, maybe the judges don't like me. Maybe they don't like my look. Like, I've done, hell, I did, like, I think it was 10 national shows before I went pro. 10.
Wow.
10. A lot. I did a lot of national shows. Some of those national shows I shouldn't have done. I should have waited. I should have taken more time, but I don't regret any of it. It led me to where I got to and where I am now. So I'm very grateful for it. But at the end of February, I was like, I don't know if I got it. And then I just like I thought to myself, like, since when do you doubt yourself? Like, it's kind of one of those moments where it was just like a spark in me. And I'm very loud. I'm very spicy. And I was like, God damn it, I'm not giving up on this. I haven't worked this hard just to be like, I'm going to give in. That is not me. So my driver every day was that same thought process. Like, who are you to doubt yourself? If you're going to doubt yourself, everyone else in the world is going to doubt you. And then that much more. Like, you are the one person at the end of the day that makes you happy, that believes in you more than anyone else in the world can. And if you don't believe in yourself, then you're screwed. So I just got to the point where I was like, I'm going to push. I'm going to make this shit happen. Like, this is what I want. This is what I've been working my ass off for 4 years. I'm not giving in now. And when I had those bad thoughts, like, I don't want to go to the gym. I thought either one, this is a privilege. I'm lucky I'm able to do this. From in all aspects, my health, my job, my career, I'm able to go to the gym and spend as much time that I have there. And two, I thought, you know what? I'm not giving up on myself. This thing, it was about me. My journey to my pro card was about me and proving myself wrong.
What did, like, was that proving to yourself that you could do it?
Oh yeah. Yes. When I remember ugly crying when I heard my name, your newest IFBB pro, and I will replay it when I see stuff on social media, like I see other girls competing, I'm like, man, I miss it. Like I remember ugly crying up on that stage in Chicago, and I just thought to myself, I did it. Holy shit, I did it. And that was such an amazing feeling. And knowing that my family was in the crowd and knowing my friends from Chicago were in the crowd, like just knowing I had such a support system from so many different avenues, it was an incredible feeling. It's something I will never forget.
Not too far from home either, original home, right?
No. I actually lived in Chicago for a year and a half, actually, after I graduated college. And so I had a lot of friends that I'd met, like from competing when I first started, because I first started when I was competing in Chicago, and they were actually there. So when I replay videos, I can specifically hear different voices, and I can hear my mom yelling my name. And it was very, very surreal. It was probably the best place I could have ever gotten my pro card. It was like almost like destined. I know that sounds lame, but that's how I truly felt. I felt it was my time.
Doesn't sound crazy at all to me. Did you feel that way before going into the show?
Yes, I actually, one of my best friends, her name is Natalie Richardson, and she's an IFBB pro as well. 6 months before I got my pro card, Natalie and I were texting, and I actually put in my phone, I looked up the date of junior nationals, and this is totally manifestation at its finest. And I put in my phone, the Saturday, the day of the finals, I will become an IFBB pro, or I will become IFBB pro every ball. And that was in my phone. And actually it went off at noon before finals that Saturday of junior nationals. And I was like, holy shit, I forgot I put this in my phone. It's still in my phone right now. Like I could screenshot and if I showed it to you, anyone could see it. But like that was so surreal, like that was a blessing in itself. Just
That's
even seeing
awesome.
that the day of finals.
Yes, like to be like, I remember writing this. I didn't remember that I had written it, but now that it's popped up, I remember writing it. And to know that that's actually about to happen. Did you know going into finals as well based on prejudging?
Oh hell no, I had no idea. The
No?
other girl that was in my no, I didn't know. I was like it's either one or two, I don't really know, but she looked amazing too. Like all of those girls, when you're in the top 5 of any national show, not even just top 5, I mean, I'm talking like top 10, everyone was bomb, like spot on. And I had no idea. I was hoping, I was praying, I was like, oh my god, please let it happen. I tried for so long. And but no, I did not know. So when it happened, I heard my name, it was so authentic. It still like gives me goosebumps to this day when I think about it and I watch those videos.
That is so amazing. And how has it impacted your life, if at all, since becoming a pro?
I think when people turn pro, they think this magical thing happens. Like I said at the beginning of the phone, like of our recording, like I honestly don't think it's really set in. Like it just, I still think of myself as a little fish. So I guess that's my own thought process. Like, and I don't think that's a bad thing. I think it's great to be humble. Because at the end of the day, like, yes, I have a pro card and I'm very grateful that I'm a pro and I can't wait to get on stage as a pro, but it still really hasn't really clicked in my brain. And for me, for it changing my life, wouldn't necessarily it's really changed my life. Like I still have the same job. My family still loves me the same. My clients still love me the same. My friends still love me the same. So if anything, it's probably stayed about the same. If not just like pushed me more to grow as a human, grow as a competitor and in this sport.
Yeah, I think that's an important message for people to hear, is that things won't all of a sudden necessarily magically change. And while there might be new opportunities or ways that you can leverage that, um, it still requires your effort, right? And
Yes.
like you said, your job didn't change, your family didn't change, like none of these things changed. And I think that's also a great reminder to make sure that you already have validation and fulfillment within and with all of the pieces and puzzle pieces of your life before trying to go and fill a void with a trophy or a placement or IFBB pro status. It's like, okay, well, when it doesn't matter so much to you, then it's going to mean so much more when you actually get it, if that makes sense.
No, it totally does, because you as a person, that person that you are, the competitor that you are, the sister, the brother, the whatever you are, like that person doesn't change just because you have something. That little tiny, that trophy, that, I mean, it is just that. It's a title, it's a trophy, it's a whatever. It's not this, oh my God, I'm so much on a higher level than what you are because I am a pro now. No, that's not it at all. So I 1,000% agree with you on the validation aspect.
Are you excited to hit the pro stage for the first time?
Oh God, yes, I cannot wait. I have no idea when that will be. So I know that's probably going to be another question. Like, when are you going on stage? I do
No,
not know.
I
I
won't
still
ask
practice
you.
my posing daily. I miss it so much. I love it. I love the sport. I love the pain. I love the sacrifice. I love the everything about it. Like even on the days when I'm just like, oh God, I deep down I still love it because that's why I do it. You know, it's just a part of
Yes.
me. I will always and forever be a competitor.
It's an amazing sport. I feel that we are incredibly blessed to be able to have found it and experience it and know that and it is already part of our lifestyle. It's been almost like it's woven into us, and regardless of if the stage existed, it would still be such a big part of our life. And I know that obviously being a coach as well, you do nutrition coaching, you do training. How has competing influenced, if at all, influenced your coaching style?
Um, I think it's definitely made me more empathetic
Hmm.
because when people struggle, I get it. I struggle. So for me, I'm not coaching necessarily any competitors, but when I come across like a lot of my clients are general lifestyle clients, and when I come across clients, when they're struggling, I really try to figure out why, because most of the time it's a lot deeper than what we think. Just because if I were to put myself in their shoes, like I understand where they're coming from a lot more than if I never competed and I was just a trainer and I'm just kind of like, you need to do this exercise or you need to eat this food because blah 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 blah. There's a lot of stuff that goes into the actual psychology around what we eat, how we work out, what we do to release our energy. So it's overall made me more empathetic.
I love that. That's great. I definitely can relate. I think it gives you perspective for sure, like a point of view, and like you said, putting yourself in someone else's shoes or trying to gain more understanding of what they're going through. I think that that's awesome. I actually feel like the more that we can practice that, the better and deeper we can connect with people. Similar to what you said about being vulnerable, I think that actually is like a great way to practice vulnerability because you actually have to step into that. Like, I'm comforting you as your coach, but I'm also pushing you as your coach, and we're going to get through this together type of thing.
Yeah.
So,
And it gets uncomfortable too. And when you have personally felt that discomfort and you know one of your clients or whoever it is feeling that same way, it's a lot easier to connect with them. And it's a lot easier for you. I feel like for me as a coach, it's a lot easier for me to be vulnerable with my clients and be like, hey, you know what? I understand how you feel. I've been there too. And these are just little things that I've tried to work on that have helped me get through that little moment. And maybe some of those little tactics will work and maybe they won't. And that's how not only you grow as a coach, but you can grow as a human too. You can apply lots of different things that you learn during coaching, competition to other avenues of life.
Yes, I absolutely agree. And I know you're also pretty big on recovery as well. So what kinds of recovery methods and practices do you follow?
So I am very, very fortunate in Arizona. My body worker's name is Dominic Pelosi, and I have been going to see Dom for over a year now, and the dude is like a freaking miracle worker. I have my clients go see him. He's amazing at what he does. So he is kind of like, he's taught me a lot as far as when it comes to corrective exercise and how to use that corrective exercise in my training to be more functional and to get out of discomfort and to make sure that aesthetically on stage things are popping where they need to because I'm training appropriately based off of my imbalances. So to answer your question, he does combination. So it depends on what you currently need and depends on what your imbalances are. So he goes anywhere from cupping, scraping, fascial stretching. He has a new system now called the New Fit, which the New Fit is actually able to either lengthen a muscle or contract a muscle. So it can help with like if you have a muscular imbalance that's causing pain, you can try to relieve the pain using the New Fit. Or you can use it during a training session as well to make sure you're activating particular parts on your body. So it's a hybrid recovery program that I've actually never heard of anyone else in the whole United States using. And I know he works with a lot of competitors in the Arizona market, but he has been my go-to person for my recovery work, and it has literally changed my physique as far as how my body moves when I train, even with my posing. So when we work on some like abdominal wall support, so mid-thoracic spine movement. So because obviously in bikini, when you hit your front pose, you have to be able to turn your shoulder to the side to make your waist look tinier. It's about contorting the body, posing to what your strengths are. And through the therapy work, through the recovery work, it's helped with that, from my posing to me being able to drop a little bit more water weight because my body's not functioning in and my body's not functioning with discomfort. It's actually working optimally. So I was able to drop more fat and activate the appropriate muscles to look best when I got on stage throughout the season.
That is awesome. When did you decide you were going to start implementing that kind of stuff?
When I first moved to Arizona, my coach always had me using a body worker, just like once a week when I first began. So I started recovery work about 2 years ago, but I didn't find Dom start working with Dom until a year ago. So really from the time my beginning of my season this year up to my pro card run, it was a night and day. When you look at my before pictures before I started working with them, and then when I got my pro card after, just the way my body came together.
That's awesome. I would love to see those. I don't know if you've made a post about them, but if you do, definitely tag me.
Ooh, I can do that. I don't know if I have. I made one after Miami because that was like when I first started, like 4 months after I first started working with them as my body worker. And then, but the change from my last show in Miami to what I look like in June when I got my pro card is night and day.
I think it's hard sometimes to find a really good body work person to go to, like someone who can deliver on the promises, right? You don't just walk in and they crack your back and say, have a good day, or stretch
It's
you.
totally hard.
So how did you find him, or like what does he call himself? So maybe we can do some research on in our own areas.
So, well, if anyone's interested in looking at his information, I can tell you what his Instagram handle is, and then you could.
That's
The
a good
hardest part
idea.
is that a lot of people don't actually like do all of the things that he does, so it's kind of hard. So you might even end up having to go to multiple people, but it at least would help you look up to what might be in your area. His name on Instagram is the_PHYZEEK Smith. Um, so what I would recommend for people to do is, if you find someone who, I would try to find someone that's in more athletic performance enhancement. So when it comes to recovery work, so typically most chiropractors don't necessarily, they just kind of like pop you back into place. But you want to find someone who works with like soft tissue work. Um, that would probably be my best way to describe it. Honestly, I'm probably suck at answering this
No,
question.
actually, you're giving good information. I think that's great.
But you also want to make sure that the person that you're working with, you feel most comfortable telling them where you might be feeling pain, or telling them, okay, so this is what happens when I get on stage. I get feedback, but I'm not able to grow muscle in this part of my body. And usually the fitness professional can help try to pair things together if they know how to do a gait analysis on someone and actually look at the diagnostics that's going on as far as like muscular imbalances. Because typically when you look at someone, and this is probably getting to like
No, I love
personal
it.
personal trainer-ish, you know what I mean? That is my career. But if you are stuck in an upper cross syndrome, meaning you're internally rotated and you're not able to externally rotate your shoulders backwards, and keep your chest up, then one, your ab wall is not going to be elongated, so you're not going to be able to have that nice long lean abdominal wall that they're looking for now in the bikini class. And then if you're stuck in an anterior tilt, meaning your hips go backwards and you're not able to actually like properly strengthen your glutes, which is a big part, as we know, in bikini. I mean, they're just going to be imbalances throughout the whole body. So if you're working with someone who is knowledgeable, they'll be able to see that if they're looking at you, if that makes sense.
Yes, makes total sense. And even better if they have worked with bodybuilders.
That would totally help.
Yeah, seriously. So I appreciate you sharing that. And I know you told us, like, of course, things you want people to know before getting into competing. But do you have like best advice for newbie competitors, as well as best advice for those competitors who are going after their pro card?
I would say newbie competitors, my best piece of advice is to have fun. Don't take yourself so seriously. Like, learn to have fun, because at the end of the day, the stage is the stage, and I don't care what anyone says. It feels amazing to be up there and be the most glamorous you that you can be. So just please have fun and take your time. The stage is always going to be there. It doesn't go anywhere. I promise you that. It's not worth the negative effects that you're going to deal with later on. Like, take your time, diet slow, make sure this is something that you really want to do. And then when you do it, find a coach, if that's the route that you're going to go, that you feel like you have a good connection with. Find someone, interview people. Make sure that it's the right person for you. Not every coach is going to be the right coach for you. I've had multiple coaches. Find someone that you significantly feel like they have your best interest at hand. Now, for competitors that are going after their pro card, don't give up. Please do not give up. That's the one thing I did not do. And I'm so happy I didn't, and so proud I didn't, because if I would have given up in February when I was like, I don't know if anyone's going to like me this year, or this might not be the look, I wouldn't have pretty much made my dreams come true. Like, that was the biggest goal I'd ever had in my life, other than getting my Division I collegiate scholarship. That next goal was becoming an IFBB pro. So if that is your goal and that is what you really want, you go after it. You give it everything you have, and do not give up. Do not let the quote unquote haters bring you down. That sounds weird to say out loud, but like, don't let people bring you down. Like, if that person is bringing you down and not believing in your dream, maybe that person right now shouldn't be in your life, or maybe you need to take a break from that person. Like, if competing is what makes you happy, and that pro card is ultimately, you could say at the end of the day, you're going to stand up there and you can envision whoever the announcer is at the time saying your name or telling you to go to the center of the stage. Like, give it everything that you got. And I promise you, you won't regret any of it.
Wow. I feel like you were speaking to me. I was like,
Shoot,
that was
I might
awesome.
have been.
I was like, yes, keep talking. I love it. No, that's a great message, and I appreciate you sharing that and for coming on as well and just talking about your journey and talking about your experiences and giving us an inside look at your perspectives as well. So, can you let everybody know where they can find and connect with you?
Yes. So my Instagram handle is balls to the wall fit, right? I hold on, I gotta double check this. That sounds so lame. I'm pretty positive. Yes, balls to the wall fit. Um, that would be my Instagram handle. What else do I have on Facebook? My name is IFBB Pro Abby Ball. Um, if you are interested, because I am officially going to be taking bikini competitors. If
Nice.
you're interested in any coaching for that bikini prep, my email is abby_ball@hotmail.com. Other than that, I'm pretty lame and I don't have any other outlets.
I love it. No, that's great. Thank you for sharing all of that. I'll make sure to put all of those things, all that information in the show notes page. So to everyone listening, you can find that on celestial.fit/podcast every single time. There's a category section as well. So you can always scroll down to the bottom of the page if you're on mobile and tap on the category with the athlete's name. Or, of course, if you're listening to this right away, it should be at the very top. So stay tuned for more awesomeness coming, you guys, on this show. I feel like we're just rocking and rolling with all these episodes, and I so appreciate all the support and the love. And I know how much it means to the athletes too when you tag them in your stories of you listening, or you share your main takeaways, or you reach out to them. So please, continue to do that. It means so much. And thank you guys for tuning in as well. If you could please make sure to rate, review, and subscribe so you never miss an episode. That is, of course, the best thing you can do, and I would appreciate that so much. So, Abby, thank you again for coming on.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much for having me. I
Of
loved it.
course, me too. So, hope you all have an amazing rest of your